First, for 22 years, like he had read, I struggled with all type of addictions, and a lot of times people don't realize the magnitude that that individual. It's not often where you destroy something and we have the capability or the people to help you put it all back together. And that's why I love to have my wife and my daughter. This is. I really want to cry because when I was addicted to crack, this was the vision that I seen. I didn't know what we were going to be doing, but my vision seen us going around helping individuals. But one of the things I want to read, I talk about my struggles, is this letter right here. I came home from work one day, last week I think, and 2 weeks ago, and my wife said, "Look what I found." And when I first seen my job's envelope on my table, the first thing I thought, I didn't take nobody's stuff from my job and break their confidentiality. Because I said, no, did I have it in my pocket? She said, no, that's actually your letter. And the letter is when I was in treatment. And I looked at that letter and I was reading it, and the letter was from Miss Pat. And it says, this is to acknowledge that Mr. Williams entered our outpatient treatment on 6/09 and was discharged 7/15/09. And that was 2009, but that was the struggles that I had, and that was the struggles that was holding me back. But I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna let my wife and daughter explain how my struggles at that time affected them, okay?
Me first? She can go first. You wanna go?
Yeah, she go first. I'll go
My name's Kelron. Like you said, I'm his daughter. I'm actually his stepdaughter, but I'm his daughter. I met him when I was a teenager. I don't remember what age, I think like 14, 15. I'm 28 now. So he's been in my life for a pretty decent amount of time. But I remember as a teenager, I didn't experience his difficulties to the extremities of my mom, but I felt her pain. And, you know, that made it difficult as a child for her to have to go through, you know, the turmoil that she did. I remember, you know, times when she'd be arguing with him, locked him out the house, he's climbing up windows, we're trying to keep him out. We used to call him Spider-Man. I remember a time I had, my best friend had gave me she gave me some gold jewelry, and I couldn't find it, and she was like, oh, where's my jewelry? I never wore jewelry again, gold jewelry after that. He doesn't even remember. He's like, I don't remember you taking it. But, you know, so I experienced, you know, losing stuff, and, you know, nights my mom is just crying, so she's tired, so I'm tired, and he's going through this treatments. I'm just like, just leave him alone. You know, just let him go. She's like, I love him. But then it got to a point where she was, you know, she backed up a little bit and just was allowing, you know, God to do what he wanted to do. And in that time, you know, it was just me and her, and I liked it like that because it wasn't no heartbreak, and there was nobody at the house eating all the food, and and she didn't have to go through the drama that, you know, was taking place, and arguing, late nights, and windows, and all of that. And I didn't have to be embarrassed by, you know, this guy, you know, he's not even my dad, and he want to come up here and be all, you know, drugged out. Like, that's not even cool. You can go away. That's how I felt, you know, because nobody wants to experience that. And, I can imagine if I was younger in that situation, I probably wouldn't have even known what was going on. But because I was a teenager experiencing it, I just wanted to fight for my mom. I didn't want her going through that drama. I was good, but I didn't want her. But to see who he is now, the growth, before, even the drugs, when we first met, he was my favorite guy. I was a tomboy at the time, and I remember me and him would exercise, and he would be in the mirror with his muscles, and I'd be in the mirror with my muscles. And so for him to go to my favorite guy, to the guy that's hurting my mom, I'm like, dude, you gotta go away. But then he became, not just my favorite guy, but somebody that I look up to highly. And, he, like I said, he wrote 7 books. I'm right behind him. I got 2. I'm in the field for social services, getting my bachelor's degree in that area because I want to do probation, and I want to make sure that the young kids, like when he started when he was young, he said 20 something years, and I want to make sure that these young kids don't have to experience that and grow up and still be addicted, or and then have to put somebody else's family through that. I have a daughter now, and that's her favorite guy. She does everything is papa, papa. She can't get enough of her papa. And I'm like, I thank God that she doesn't have to experience, him in and out of rehab, and she gets to experience the greener grass and the victorious Michael, and not the defeated Michael. And I just thank God for that. Okay, I'm done.
She gave that back fast. I'm Renelle Williams, and I'm usually behind the scenes. We had that conversation coming in. I'm a behind the scenes person. Even at my job, I make sure a lot of stuff gets done behind the scenes. So, in our relationship in the beginning, before I knew what was going on, because I didn't grow up with drugs and alcohol. I didn't grow up, nobody drank or smoked when I was growing up. And when I got older, and, my 20s, and I went out, I was always a designated driver, and I didn't smoke cigarettes. And my friends didn't smoke cigarettes. Some of them drank, but that's why I was always a designated driver. And you couldn't offer me or any of the people that I was with anything, because then I would be ready to fight, because we don't do drugs. So I was kind of clueless, because I always saw a wino or someone on drugs, you saw them as me growing up remembering the people we call them winos. They look like they're about to fall, but they never fell. Or they just look so horrible. They just made them look so horrible. So when I met this man that was absolutely gorgeous, he didn't fit that description. So maybe a year or so went by before I realized what was going on. So once again, I was behind the scenes. I was behind the scenes trying to make sure he went to treatment. I was behind the scenes trying to make sure he went to NA and AAs, to the point where, in order for him to go, I had to go. So I'm sitting in NA, AAs, because if I don't go, I'll drop him off at the front door and he will go out the back door. Or I was calling the rehabs and talking to everyone. One time I even got this one here. I called the rehab up in Trenton, and they had no beds. So I called and said I was a friend of a friend. The guy took that as meaning that it was an organization. And he said he had no beds, but the more we talked, he wanted to meet the person calling from this organization, which was me. So in order to meet me, he had to come up with a bed, which he did really quickly. So I knew he wanted, to quote, meet me. I didn't care. I went along with that just to get him into rehab. So like I said, I was behind the scenes doing so much that I didn't let him do any work. So 11 rehabs I did. 11 rehabs I did. Like my daughter said, she was a teenager, and I tried to hide it from her at first. Until one day she came up and I was sitting on the edge of my bed, and I was just looking at him in the bathroom, and he was brushing his teeth, fussing at me, because I told him, you're high. And he was brushing his teeth, arguing with me that I didn't know what I was talking about, he's not high, and he does not look bad, which he did, and how somebody on the bus just told him how good he looked. And I said, she's on crack too. That's what I said. Anyway, my daughter comes, he's brushing his teeth, and he freezes, and I had never seen that before. I said, did he fall asleep? I'm looking at him, he literally just froze with the toothbrush. And I kind of got scared, and then he started talking again. Just picked up his sentence right where he left off. Oh my God. So she sat down, she said, Mom, what's wrong with him? I said, oh, he had a little bit too much to drink. I'm trying to hide it, because I wanted to hide it. And she said, I've seen people drink, and I've seen how they act. That's not drinking. And she got up and walked away from me. Right then and there, I knew I can't hide this from her anymore. She knows what's going on. She's older. But I say that to say because a lot of times people look at the addict and they never see what happens to the people that loves that addict. And to give up on somebody you love is very, very hard. It's very hard. And I remember one day I looked at him and I said, your mom has been going through this longer than me. And if her tears could not change you, I know that mine can't either. And I had to back up. But I wouldn't back all the way up. But I just had to let him go through it. But I went through it with him. When he would get locked up, I was locked up because I didn't want to move. I wanted to go to work, and I wanted to make sure I was by that phone, so I got his phone calls. Because I wanted to hear all the good. That I'm thinking good, what I did was wrong, I'm changed. I wanted to hear that. So I had to keep money on the books. I would go visit. At one time, when I'm going to be honest, I went to see him at jail. And just standing there in line for hours to visit someone at the county. So that time I got there, and I sat behind the chair, there's this big glass wall, and he's all happy, and he's coming to see me. As soon as he picked up that phone, I said, I can't be a British way. You can't come back here because I ain't coming. And that was the first thing out my mouth. I couldn't do that. I felt trapped, and I started getting mad at myself. Why am I going to NA? I don't do drugs. Why am I going to the county? I'm not committing crimes. I started getting angry. And you understand, you start feeling some of the things that the person that's on drugs is feeling. I started having low self-esteem and feeling guilty and fearful and trying to cover different things as if I was doing something wrong. Or we would go places, and I knew he lost weight or his skin got darker or things were happening, and you hear people whispering and talking about you, so now you're you love him, I love him, so I'm holding his hand, but everybody's whispering. Even in church, they were talking about me. That's not something that's easy. But while I was doing that, there was no place for me to go to get help. Because when he would go to rehab, I couldn't talk about all the stuff he'd done because that didn't go in his recovery. But then when he come home and he go back out there and do his stuff again, he didn't get 2 cents about what I was going through because he was looking for his next hit. So I was torn. So it was during one of those torn moments that I wrote this poem that my husband put in his first book. And I want you just to close your eyes and listen to a struggle of someone that's in love with someone dealing with addiction. And this was a struggle that I was having. I was believing God for something, but I was beating myself up at the same time. So if you could close your eyes and just listen to the struggle. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Oh no, where is he? How do you find him? Where is he? He makes me lie down in green pastures. Every night I have to hide my purse and my keys. He leaves me beside still waters. He said he didn't take it, but I know that he did. And he restores my soul. A $600 bracelet going on a $20 bid. He guides me in paths of righteousness. I gave him my heart, my loyalty, my best, for his name's sake. But he stole my things and he took my self-respect. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, why am I out here in the middle of the night? I will fear no evil, searching corners and alleys without any light. For you are with me, knocking on doors of decrepit houses, a woman alone. Your rod and your staff comfort me. I'm just as crazy as he is. I need to go home. You prepare a table before me. He says that he loves me, yet he chases another in the presence of my enemies. In his clothes and on his skin is the scent of his lover. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Why, how come, and what if consumes my every thought? Surely goodness and mercy will follow me. How many heartbreaks and lessons do I have to be taught all the days of my life? Helpless, hopeless, hurt. I'm probably better off dead. I will dwell in the house of the Lord. Oh God, please help me forever. I'm in love with a crackhead. Amen.
In closing, let me tell you about a vision I had. In this particular vision, I'm going to need some participation from y'all, okay? In this particular vision, one day I had a vision and I was asleep. And in the vision, it was like God standing on a mountain. He had all this stuff. And he was like, all this stuff is yours. And he had my name on it. And he said, it's all yours. Just come get it. Your career, your job, your wife, your family, children, everything's yours. Come get it. So just like anybody, if you're right, it was something for you. So I went to go get what was clearly mine. But as I started to go get the things that was clearly mine, I was seeing like I was walking and not getting there. So the vision went away. So the next day I had the same vision. And in this vision, he was standing up there again with all this stuff saying, this is all yours. Come get it, it's yours. So I went to go get the stuff that was clearly mine. Tim, come here for a minute, please. And as I started to go get the stuff that was clearly mine, someone was standing in front of me with their hand on their chest, on my chest. As I looked closely to the writing that was all over him, it says, this is your struggle. Now I need 10 more people. Let me get 10 people up here. 10 people. Come here. 10 people. 10 people. Let me get 10 people.
Man, we're not so good at math.
How many people was that?
Not 10.
Oh, 10. Put your hand on my back. That's 10, y'all? I can't see. Okay. So in this particular vision, I was seeing a vision, and this person in front of me had tattoos all over him. And it says, this is your struggle. And then the vision went away. Then the next day I had the exact same vision. And the stuff that was up there said my name on it. It was clearly mine. And as I started to go get it again, the person in front of me, which represent my struggle, was stopping me from achieving what was really mine. So the next day, that God told me, look over your shoulder, Michael. And when I looked over my shoulder, it was 10 people behind me. And I looked on the writing that was on them, all written on them, it says, this is your purpose. So I said, what does this vision mean to me? And he says, my purpose, walk with me, y'all. My purpose is greater than my struggle. Everybody say, my purpose is greater than my struggle. Say my purpose is greater than my struggle. Whatever area you work in, you have a purpose for being there. And no matter what struggles might come to your position, always remember that your purpose is greater than that struggle. All my life, I had things that was clearly mine, but my struggles were stopping me. But as soon as I looked over my shoulder